Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. Now this one's just going to be an update on the Street Machine magazine Small Talk Terry Ross tribute build in the 65 Galaxie. We're obviously working that into the Blue Ox Model Shop Street Machine group build. Now, I did think I was looking through all my builders I've got at the 65 Galaxie. I decided against using that one which I started years ago. The body's just a little bit too far gone, even though I did a nice job of cutting out the wheel wells. It's too incomplete, and so I did have a look at other builders, and I've got some pretty nice builders, but I think the more thought of it, the once you start taking them things apart, as there's always something which is a pain in the backside, really. So I thought for this series, I will start with a new kit. Now I was looking for the Cruising USA series kit just to start with, just because that's the one Terry used in his magazine segment. But when you try and find one, you can never find one. So I've got a couple of this issue on the shelves. It was my favourite issue, really. I thought round two did a great job of bringing back all the old parts which we lost for a number of years. I think when the Cruising USA version came out, it pretty much deleted any of the custom parts, and then the one which came out in the 90s. That didn't have any of the custom parts in it, the one which was maroon on the box, and I think there was a couple of other issues after that, and this was the one which brought back all the good stuff, and it had a really nice Lafayette Ford stock car decal sheet and what have you, and I'm not going to do an unboxing on this one, to be quite honest with you. I can do if you want, but it'll just have to be for another kit which I've got on the shelf. But yeah, I thought the reason why I kept on going back to starting with a new kit for this one was it kind of gives us the opportunity to, if you're wanting to build something similar, then starting with a new kit gives me the opportunity to show you the stages which I'm doing using the kit, and there will be some parts we'll have to find. I only had the one magazine copy. I actually found a second one, a second magazine from that series of where he's building this in the magazine, and then Mike, who comments on our videos, he kindly sent through, I think it was 4 or 5 pictures of the segments from that series. I think I'm only missing maybe 1 or 2, and I will try and find them, to be quite honest, on eBay. I'll just have to work out the ones which I've got and the ones which Mike sent me pictures of, and then we'll have a good idea, because I did notice even in the ones Mike sent me, there was a lot of explaining how to do it, but not a lot of pictures, not a lot of visual, and it was a little bit vague here and there. So, because he only had so much space he could write in, and so many pictures he could add per issue. So I thought this would be a good way of just taking it through step by step, and we'll see how it goes and take it from there, really. I mean, I must admit, this wasn't going to be the project that I was going to do next. The original idea for the next build was to recreate this little thing at the Corgi Kennel Club 59 Chevy. And it will be done. I was just having problems finding people to do the decals for it and what have you. But I think what I'll do is I'll just buy a set of replacement decals for this and see if I can try my hand at scaling them up. Sort of set my printer up finally and do that. But yeah, I mean, I think one of the things I was struggling with as well was, I've been working out this scratty bag of plastic card for the last 15 years probably. you know, just because I don't know what gauge or what thickness to buy. But then I found there was a seller on eBay selling offcuts, and so for 25 quid posted to the door, I got 4.5 kilograms of offcuts, all different thicknesses, and so that is now going to sort me out for life for the scratch building. Plastic, sheet plastic supplies. We don't have to worry about that anymore for future builds, but we will get that one done at some point. And with Jason at Blue Ox doing his street machine group build, it was a really good opportunity to do this one. So don't know how much I'll get done today. In all fairness, it's a lovely day here in York. I've had a really busy week, so I've not had a chance to start on it. So I'll just see what I can do. I'll see what I can do in the couple of hours I've set aside for this. And I think pretty much all I'm planning to do today, really, to get the project started, is cut the wheel wells out, and also we're going to remove the moulded in exhaust system on the chassis. I'm hoping I can get both of them things done today. So, well, time will tell anyway, because if you're watching it and there's nothing being done, then yeah, at least it's a quick video for you at 6 minutes. We will see you in a second anyways. Well, first things first, like I said in the last clip, is I want to get them wheel wells cut out and do a bit of work on the chassis. Obviously the model Terry built had radius rear arches, and looking at the pictures closely, they come right up to or very close to the existing trim. So we've got to be careful not to damage that trim, otherwise I might as well just use that older body. But yeah, I mean, to mark them out, all I did was get the size slick which I'm going to be using, and did a rough template around that. And that was just in pencil, and then I just drew around it freehand with a black marker to give us the shape we needed. And like I say, we need to keep that trim in place, but we also need to eliminate the full arch, existing arch. So I've just sort of done it so it's just taking those out and not a great deal more. We don't want it looking too wide or hacked up or anything. So we've done that pretty much both sides, and yeah, we'll end up pre-shaping it, just tickling it out a little bit once we got the main bit cut out. I mean, I'll probably go in there with just me snippers at first and try and get the majority of the plastic out. But we'll see how that turns out. Like I say, it's not a job I particularly like doing. It can go wrong very quickly, and then you've wasted a body if you get it wrong. So it's just a case of taking your time. Now the chassis, from me memory and up until very recently, I just thought it was a standard kit chassis, which Terry used, and it was, to be quite fair, but he had done a lot of work, and so he'd taken out the existing exhaust system, so we want to eliminate that as well. And I don't think it's going to be too difficult on this one. This is the other article I found on it, and Mike did send me another one with side-by-side shots of a stock and what he'd done to it, and you really can't even I can't see really the detail on there. But yeah, I did think it used all the kit's suspension components, but after reading some of it, it actually used the Monogram 66 Malibu front axle. I'm pretty sure it used another Monogram rear axle. I think it was from an IMSA car or something. So I'll have to have a look through the spares thing anyway and see what we've got to use. I know I've definitely got a spare Malibu front axle, and so we can do that. But the other thing he did was, yeah, he didn't use any of the standard kit steering. That's why I thought before that he had done, just because the wheels opposed on the kit. But yeah, so the other thing we're gonna have to cut out the whole inner fender wells either side, which again it's not a massive problem, to be quite honest with you. But at least that way we're making it, and that's why these magazines are really valuable for me for this build, is because I'm noticing things which I've never noticed before, or I've never had the magazine, so I've not actually read how you did it. And all the articles were pretty much like this, you know, a lot of explaining and one picture, and then you got to just pick out what he was doing. But he was very well informed and what have you. But as to actually seeing how it was done, you didn't really get a lot in that. And I think, yeah, that was the January '84 Street Machine. So what we'll do is we'll just start cutting this up, and hopefully we'll have something looking halfway there by end of the video. But I mean, this chassis is no way going to be completed by end of video. All we're doing is cutting off the bits we don't want, and removing that moulded and exhaust systems. So we will see you in a second and see how far we've got. Okay. Right then, well, I've done as much as I can today, to be quite honest. It was a bit more laborious than I thought, to be fair, but you know, it's jobs that needed to do and be done anyway. So yeah, we got the wheel wells cut out in the end. In all fairness, I just started cutting round with the Tamiya cutters. Kept about a couple of mil away from the edge, because you know them cutters always, I think they crush more than cut, to be quite fair. I mean, even when I bought them things new, it was I always thought they crushed plastic rather than cut them. But so yeah, I mean they do come in handy for me though, because you know you can start making short work of, rather than having to scribe all the way through or cut all the way through with a knife. So yeah, we got them, and we got them cut out. And then, to be fair, you know, it was pretty jagged edges. I've taken pictures, by the way, and I'll put them at the end, as I always do on these kind of builds. But yeah, we just send it up to smooth them out. I just got one of these slicks and I just started it running through, and you don't think you're getting anywhere, but you are. Like when I started this side, you know, it just seemed to have a flat spot. Hence why when I originally cut them, I put them well below the trim line, because you are going to end up going up there. But you know, that basically gives you a nice shape all the way around. We've kept it uniform both sides. Just kept it just below the trim either side. And I knew I'd got it even as well, because when I first did this side, I was just left with a little bit of a lip left on there, and a little bit of a lip left down there. So we just got that in there separately with a little sanding stick, and careful not to lose that body line. We just sanded that down flush with the rest of the quarter panels. So yeah, I mean, I think they're gonna look. I mean, they got the shape I wanted and what have you, and you know, once that's set down and we got the axle sort of centered into that hole, then yeah, I think it's gonna give us quite a nice opening either side. So yeah, I mean it's not hard work, but it's just, like I say, it's just laborious, and you just got to take your time with it. And again, with the chassis, Managed to finally get all the moulded and exhaust system sanded down, and again, I think it's just very time consuming, and if I wasn't on the time crunch today, I probably would have walked away from it a couple of times and come back to it, because getting into all these bits and pieces and not losing the shape of the chassis pan was a little bit tricky. I think you'll find the mufflers, around the mufflers and at the front of the exhaust, where you've got very little space to get sanding sticks in, is going to be is definitely the hardest parts of removing the exhaust system. Still got a little tiny bit down there, but I just want to leave a little bit of a raised edge, because obviously we've got to fill in these two gaps where the mufflers were. I knew it wasn't going to be a too difficult job at the beginning, because when I looked at the top side of the chassis plate, you could see it wasn't recessed into the exhaust. We knew we could just get most of that off with sanding sticks, but again, I took as much as I could off with the Tamiya cutters, because otherwise I would have been here for 4 or 5 hours sanding all that off. So just took it down as far as I could. I mean, there was still a lot of work in it, but that's pretty much it sorted now. Now we can get our own custom headers sticking out like they were on the original, on Terry's builds, and then we just cut the tops of the fenders off. I mean, I did start razor sawing it, but to be quite honest, it was a bit of a chew getting in there with a razor saw. So I just cut the front bits with the razor saw, and then just went round with the Tamiya cutters just to get the rest of it off, and obviously cutting it above the frame rails and leaving me a little bit of material to sand. But we got that pretty much all done now. So we're going to be able to see the top of the wheels and everything like a proper street racer. But again, that's the good thing about doing the YouTube channel, is even if I was probably building this for myself at home, I probably, in all fairness, I probably would have just just painted it black and ignored the exhaust system, and then put the exhaust, put the headers on regardless, but I think you'll probably be able to get the same look anyway. If you were to use the Galaxie chassis, Galaxie axles and what have you, I think Terry just used the 6.6 Malibu ones. I think the more for the overall look of a straight beam axle, so to speak, and give it that street racer, street machine looks. So I mean, again, we hadn't really done a great deal, but it was either trying to do a little bit today or not get a video out at all this weekend, because the rest of my weekend is absolutely busy as hell, is all I can say, So, but again, big thanks to Jason at Blue Ox Model Shop for hosting this build, and we'll just carry on doing little bits and filming little bits, and making a video out of it. So like I say, I think this is the right way to do it. I think it's the right way to carry on what Terry did with how much he could actually put into that magazine. It's I can imagine it's a very difficult task writing articles when you're doing builds. I find this, even though this isn't, it's a bit time consuming, as it's nothing like having to try and describe what you're actually doing in an article. So hats off to all them guys who do that kind of thing, because it's definitely not easy. And as the project goes on, there's a I think what I found from reading the bits and pieces I have done, you know, he does try and make it as easy as possible for the beginner. So we'll try and sort of follow that suit, so to speak, and hopefully we'll end up with a nice build. But I mean, that bit and that bit are probably the two bits I least wanted to do out of the whole project, and now they're done. So all we can do is see how far we get in the next one. So again, thanks to all the supporters of the channel as always. You know, if you're watching, commenting, subscribing, that's absolutely fantastic. If you're just watching and enjoying the content, you know, so be it. And hope you're enjoying what you're watching. So yeah, whatever you're doing for the rest of the weekend, hopefully, like I say, the weather's as nice as it is in York today. I really do want to get out and get into some of that sun. So yeah, whatever you're doing, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you probably early to mid next week. Okay, see you, bye.